In a city drowned in fear, where silence could mean survival, one woman dared to whisper hope, not with a weapon, but with courage. The year was 1939. The world was at war. Germany's shadow had fallen over Poland, and Warsaw, once a city of laughter, libraries, and music, had become a cage of terror. Nazi banners fluttered where children once played. Soldiers marched down cobblestone streets. The air smelled of smoke and fear. And among this darkness walked a young woman with a satchel of papers and an unshakable heart, Irena Sendler. She wasn't a soldier. She wasn't famous. She was a social worker with calm eyes and steady hands, but inside beat the heart of a warrior. When the Nazis invaded Poland, they forced over 400,000 Jews into a small area called the Warsaw Ghetto, sealed behind high brick walls topped with barbed wire. Inside, families starved. Children cried silently in the dark. Disease spread faster than hope. Irena saw it all. She could have turned away, like so many others did, but something inside her refused. If you see someone drowning, you must jump into the water to save them, even if you can't swim. Using her position as a social worker, Irena got special permission to enter the ghetto, supposedly to inspect for disease. But her real mission was far more dangerous. She smuggled in food, medicine, and clothes, and smuggled out children, one at a time. A baby hidden in a toolbox, a boy asleep in a sack of potatoes, a girl pretending to be sick carried out on a stretcher. Each child she saved had to forget their name, their language, their parents to survive. Irena wrote down each child's real name and their new identity on scraps of paper and buried them in glass jars under an apple tree in a friend's backyard. Those jars were jars of life, waiting for the day the war would end, and those children could find their families again. Every trip into the ghetto was a walk with death. If the Nazis discovered her secret, the punishment was torture and execution. One evening, as she was leaving the ghetto, a German officer stopped her. He looked at her bag and asked, "What's inside?" Irena smiled calmly. "Medical supplies, sir. Typhus is spreading fast." He hesitated, then waved her through. Behind that calm smile, her heart was pounding. Inside the bag was a baby, asleep and silent. That was courage. Quiet, trembling, unstoppable courage. But in 1943, the Gestapo found out. They arrested Irena. They beat her, broke her legs, and demanded names. She refused to speak. They sentenced her to death. The day before her execution, something miraculous happened. Her friends bribed a German guard and helped her escape. From that day on, Irena lived under a false identity, still trying to save others. Even on broken legs, she continued to walk because her purpose was stronger than her pain. When the war finally ended in 1945, over 2,500 Jewish children were alive because of her. She dug up the glass jars and tried to reunite them with their families. Most of those parents were gone, taken to concentration camps, never to return. But their children lived, and they lived because one woman refused to be silent. Years later, when someone asked her if she saw herself as a hero, Irena smiled and said, "I could have done more. This regret will follow me until my dying day." She died in 2008, at 98 years old. She never sought fame, never asked for medals. She only hoped that one day the world would remember what fear tried to erase, the power of one person's choice. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's choosing to act despite it. In a time when silence was safe, Irena chose danger. In a world that had lost its humanity, she chose compassion. Her story reminds us you don't need a sword to fight evil. Sometimes a heart full of courage is enough to change history. Every story leaves behind an echo, and many more are still waiting to be heard. Subscribe now and let's keep their voices alive.